Hello and welcome back to a brand new video on how you could repot your own succulents. There's a lot of reasons why you may want to repot your succulent. Often when you buy succulents from the store, they come in these big containers with tons of succulents packed together. Typically that's not great for the succulent, and you want to separate them all so they have their own little area of soil. Or maybe your succulent's just getting too big for the pot that it's currently in and you want to move it. In my situation, I want to repot mine because I found that, well, for starters, they were getting a little too big for the pot, and also this guy has a lot of mushrooms, which is usually not a big problem, just indicates that the soil is a little too moist, but nonetheless, I thought it was a good time to repot. Alright, so the first step is to get the right soil. I'm using a cactus and succulent potting mix that I made myself. You could also buy it from the store, but just make sure it's the right soil. Next up is getting the right planter. Typically they don't have to be big, so I'm using this beer can planter I made. Just make sure they have enough drainage holes to help the water run out. Just to help with drainage, I threw some rocks down at the bottom of my planter to sort of block up the drainage holes so no dirt will fall through. Next up, you got to fill up your planter with the right soil. And now, like I said, you have to make sure it's the right soil, or else your succulents are not going to do too well. If you want to learn how to make your own soil, I'll show you how to do that in another video. Also, make sure that the planter is about half full, because you are going to be transferring some soil from where the succulent already is into the new planter. Like I said, for this video, I decided I was going to replant the succulent that has a lot of mushrooms going around it. I picked off some dead leaves and then I just pulled it right out of the soil. Came out fairly easy, but for some people it might not be the case. You might have to use a spade. A spoon also works well if it's a small succulent. But whatever it is, just make sure you're very careful with the roots, because those are the last things you want to damage. So I'll get this out of the way and then we can move on to actually repotting the plant. As you can see here, I'm just picking off some of the mushrooms because I don't really want to move those to the new plant. And I'm also starting to pick off some dead leaves that I don't want to transfer. This will make the job a little easier on myself, but also for the plant when it's adapting to the new pot. The next step is to try to remove any of the dirt that's loosely held on. This shouldn't take too much effort. If anything, you should be able to shake the plant a little bit and all the dirt should fall off. It's important not to tear because you could rip some of the roots and that's never good. So as you can see, I'm sort of just massaging the plant and the soil falls right off the roots. I sort of rushed it in the video, but this is definitely a step that you may want to take some time on because it's important not to damage the plant. As you can see, I got all the dirt off and I loosely pulled apart the roots so they would have an easier time in guiding themselves to the soil when we put them in the new pot. Okay, this step's pretty simple. All you gotta do is just put the plants into the new planter. In my situation, my planter's a little small, so it took some effort, but if you are using a bigger planter, just dig a hole and plop it right in. I filled it up to the rim with some dirt and I pressed down gently just to hold the plant in place. And if you want, you could also try to add some rocks into the top of the planter, just add some extra weight to help stabilize the plant and just add some design to it. And now for the final step, you just gotta water it. The general rule of thumb is that you gotta fill it until water just starts to come out of the drainage holes. Once you've done that, let it sit and re-water it when the soil is completely dry. Generally that takes about 2 weeks. It could take longer, it could take shorter, but make sure not to overwater your plant because it will die. And that's about it. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.